Welcome to today's conversation. I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire, and your host for this episode. Joining me is Dan Bailey, senior vice president at WFG Enterprise Solutions. Dan, so great to have you on the show today.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks, Diego.
Dan, WFG is taking both time and cost out of the mortgage process for lenders and borrowers. At a high level, how is your unified approach making that possible?
Sure. Happy to explain. So I'm responsible for our WFG Enterprise Solutions group within WFG. So WFG, National Title Insurance Company, is a national title insurance underwriter. We have several different, I don't like to call them silos, right? Several different segments of our business, including direct operations, agency services, and then our Enterprise Solutions group. So our Enterprise Solutions group is comprised of Volley, our marketing automation tools, lender services, which is title settlement services across the country, nationwide, valuation services through Value Trust, and we also offer default services. So for us, presenting a lender with kind of, end-to-end solutions really helps us maximize whether it's integrations, whether it's workflow, whether it's how we're approaching the customers and their borrowers, and cut out a lot of the, stuff that kind of happens that mucks up the process, right? So whether it's, again, helping our lenders place orders with multiple vendors, having really clear and succinct marketing information for them, all of that allows us to leverage our collective services to provide a faster, better process, which helps reduce redundancies and take time and cost out of the process. It's been one of our core principles at WFG since I've been here, since 2013, and WFG since 2010. So our focus is always customer, take time and cost out, collaborate, and we're here just for our customers. So I think collectively that allows us to do that.
I love the way you describe that, taking the muck out of the middle.
The muck, the mess, yes.
Now, the decision point has shifted from a market-facing tool to more of an Intel Inside model. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that transition means?
Sure. So since I've been in this industry, which unfortunately you can tell by my gray hair has been longer than I care to admit, but when I first started in this industry, I'll never forget it, right? It was, way back in 2003, incredibly busy. And the way that you got search data was really sending an order to someone remotely who'd walk in. Everybody's heard the story. Walk into the courtroom, get the stuff, go to the records office, write it down, send it in, and we create a commitment. And obviously that's evolved over the years with automated with databases and other ways that you can access that same data. So back in 2018-19, we introduced Decision Point as a upfront tool for our customers. And what it allowed our customers to obtain near instantly is a decision, right? Is this a title for this order clear? Do I have issues? Is there things I've got to work through? Is there potential pitfalls that could derail this transaction or have it take longer than I'd like, right? It was great, right? Everybody's out there. There was all kinds of different types of competitor tools out there. The problem was it was hard for a lot of our lender customers to adopt, right? Because not everybody had it. They weren't prepared for it. What do they do? Okay, this one's clear, this one's not. Theoretically, you think, oh, well, that's easy. This one just goes on happy path. This one goes on sad path. But then managing that became problematic. And then, it gets compounded by what we've been dealing with the last 3 years, which is a shallow refinance market. So what we've done is said, okay, let's take those same learnings and that same capability that we had in that upfront tool to our customers, which is still available today. However, customers could use that if they care to. But let's start bringing that internally, right? Let's start looking at our own internal search process, how we can continue to automate that process, make it faster, better, more consistent. So that intelligence inside really refers to taking the same tools that we presented to our customers and then using it internally to expedite our overall process. And what that does is it allows for a more predictable process, right? You know that, hey, if I'm getting 1,000 units or 5,000 units, my title turn times are going to be the same. Also allows us to continually reduce those turn times, right? And still have a high quality product. So it's not just about getting data, putting it on a form and spitting it out, right? It's getting data, putting it on a form, making sure there's a QC process involved with that to identify any potential issues, having those cured, and then delivering a product at a consistent time frame and a high quality, no matter what that volume is. So that's what we've really focused on these last 5 years.
Now, earlier in the conversation, you mentioned Value Trust, where you're bringing services to one platform that's integrated with ICE. How does that translate into efficiency gains for your lender clients?
When we first introduced Value Trust, there's a couple things Value Trust does, right? I mean, one, it's an AMC, so we provide national valuation, appraisal management services. But then from a platform standpoint, initially, the reason why we felt Value Trust was such a valuable tool for us was that it allows our customers to automate the appraisal management process and the appraisal report itself, right? So just by that, when you get an appraisal report, instead of looking at a PDF document, everything's digitized. It makes it much easier for QC review, really expedites that process. Over the years, that's developed into our integration with Encompass and ICE to continually allow our lenders and our customers to better use that data. And then it grows into a much bigger tool, right? It's a vendor management tool. So it's not just managing Value Trust services or WFG services. It's any other vendor you want on the platform, right? It's not limited to appraisal. It's not limited to title. It's a vendor management tool. So it makes it very easy for customers and lenders to better allocate their orders between their providers, scorecard their providers, understand where their performance is, and they're really diving into the data at a level that they couldn't before. And sometimes it's a lot of that partnership that we have, right? This might be interesting to you. Here's where your orders are. Here's where we're seeing longer turn times. Here's where we're seeing longer app to close times, whatever it may be. We could share that information and make it really valuable for our customers to make better decisions about their business and how they want to handle it. And then ultimately, I think the decision is a no-brainer. They always want to give more orders to WFG and our related companies, right? That's the plan.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds to me like you've built a unified platform for all that you're working on to clear out that muck in the middle. How does this unified platform give you the ability or an advantage in leveraging AI and eliminating those mundane tasks?
Well, I think, certainly I can't speak for what other companies do, right? But, in my previous roles in this industry, some of the companies I worked with would have different production systems for title or a different production system for the closing process or different production system. Everything was separated out and made it very difficult for us whenever there was, any type of enhancement or any type of development that we wanted to do. It always was contingent upon, well, how does this system interact with this system? And how do I make sure this is all going to work, right? And then what's the development time and how long is that going to take, right? So it becomes a constraint in your environment, right? So now that we're all on one platform, right, an enhancement here gets shared over here very, very quickly, right? There's not a lot of that, well, we got to figure out how those two systems talk to each other now. And ultimately, it benefits our customers, right? Our customers now, if they have an issue that might be dealing with, one of my direct operations in Washington or Oregon, and they call in and have a question for me, well, I can help them out. Even on the back end, if there's a claim that occurs, our claims counsel or claims team, they're on the same system that we are. So instead of, putting out a document request, telling the ensure that, hey, give me 6 months, I got to wait to get all the documents back, they can access it right away, right? So it just expedites the overall process and takes out that internal muck, right? That internal constraints that you have trying to speak between systems and I don't know how to use this system, I'm used to this system, what do I do? All that stuff's gone. Everybody knows how to use the system. It makes it very easy for us to react to our customers. And whether that's, like I mentioned, on the back end where there might be a claim issue or on the front end where our customers are just looking to integrate on multiple platforms, for us, it's really easy to do because we're on just one.
A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Pat Stone, the CEO of your company, of WFG. And he talked a lot about post-transaction surveys and using those to optimize the business. Could you tell us a little bit more about how that feedback loop that you've set up helps you to serve your customers and ultimately their borrowers better?
Sure. Yeah. So I think in this industry, especially as a national title and settlement producer, provider, vendor, partner, whatever you want to call it, I prefer partner. You're always measured on how fast you can turn title, how fast you can clear title, how fast it takes to prepare a settlement statement, how fast you get post-closing done. And those are things that, for our company, it's very easy for us to manage throughout our conversation today with how we can be very consistent with our title turn times and our other services through the process automation we've implemented. And that's all great. We agreed on all those scorecards, but what we asked ourselves, probably 8-9 years ago now is, well, what if nobody likes us, right? I think I'm a nice person, but the people that we're working with might think we're a bunch of jerks, right? So we implemented a net promoter score process where on every transaction that we have, whether it's interacting with our customers, whether it's interacting with consumers, borrowers, we're just asking them, would you refer us to one of your colleagues? Did you like working with us? Yes or no? And that data has been invaluable, right? It's on a live dashboard. We can see it as it comes in throughout the day. If someone's not happy, which I'd like to tell you, hey, we're 100%, everybody's happy all the time, right? I'd be lying, right? It's sometimes things happen.
Not possible.
It's not, right? So it allows us to identify those areas where something went wrong and correct it, right? It's a feedback loop. We're able to reach back out to that consumer, reach out to the processor, whomever it may be, and say, hey, what did we do wrong? How do we make it better, right? What can we do for you in this transaction to make it better for you? Apologize, right? Hey, this should have happened this way. What else can we do for you? But it's been really, really valuable for us and helps us better set up our teams. One of the underlying messages here is that we are all about customer service. NPS score is reflective of that with scores over 90. But then all this other stuff we're doing with automation and process improvement, taking time out, what it allows us to do better and better every day is interact on a personal level, right? When someone comes in and they have a question, they don't understand what's going on with their transaction, when's it going to close? We want to be able to be there and spend as much time as possible interacting with that consumer or a client or whomever it may be to make sure that they're satisfied, they understand what's happening. As refinance, purchase transactions, they can be very confusing especially for folks that might do them once or twice in their life. We do hundreds and thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands a month, depending upon the market. So, hey, we're happy to answer those questions. We're happy to help out. And all those tools allow us to better do that and spend that time to make sure that that person's satisfied.
All right. So we've talked about the unified platform. We've talked about getting rid of that muck in the middle, which I love that expression. And now we just talked about this feedback loop that you've built, where you're able to optimize on a transaction by transaction basis, which is amazing. So what's next? What are you building next that will help you transform the mortgage process?
Well, I think we're in a very fascinating time, right? We're very much, I think, at the tip of the iceberg as far as what AI can do and how it can help. And we've challenged our teams, right? We've challenged our teams to look at the different engines out there, help us better determine what's good for us, what works, what doesn't work. I think we're going to see a lot of that continue to influence how we deliver services to our customers, how it just makes us better providing customer service. And then it allows you to react better too, right? And, I remember years ago, and I keep dating myself, and I hate to do that, but, experience tells me, just a simple integration years ago would take months and months and months, right? All of that can be expedited now with the AI tools that are out there. And again, our goal, implement things that are smart, make sure that we're able to deliver high quality products quickly, and then also leverage those tools to allow our employees provide better service to our customers. That's what we're going to continue to focus on. We're going to continue to focus on driving that customer service. And then ultimately, all of those tools allow us to provide consumers with better priced products as we move forward. Certainly I understand it's a price competitive environment. We want to make sure the products and services that we have are very competitive, but then there's also a high quality customer service tool. Not only, whether it's transactional questions, procedural questions, diving in and figuring out how we can just do things better with our customers, that's where we want to be. And that's where I think we'll continue to grow.
Dan, I really appreciate you joining me today. This is a really interesting conversation about a really important part of the home sale and home purchase process. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, my pleasure, Diego. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.